Hey guys, Shot the Monkey here. So, a bit of an impromptu video this one, but it's one that I thought I'd give a try because I've considered it for a while, and I received the impetus to do it recently. So I got a comment on quite an old video actually. It was one of mine that I put on the channel before I could do 1080p videos on the old computer before the one that I'm recording on currently, and the comment in question was, can you explain how you reverse the fight when an enemy is behind you? And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do exactly that. And I decided I was going to take a clip actually from that video, because there's a pretty decent one in there. And I was just going to, take that clip, break it down, analyse it, explain what I was doing at every step of the way, using pauses, etc., and kind of explain the fight from at least my perspective, and as best as I can from the perspective of the enemy as well, but of course doing it all myself. So the fighting question is from the Fog War 490 A-1 in action video, and it occurs in Warplanes, and it's between myself in the 190 A-1 on Warplanes, fully upgraded with bombs equipped, versus what I would assume is going to be a fully upgraded BF-109B1. At least I'm going to assume it is for the purposes of this video. So I've taken a screenshot of the statistics of both aircraft, and they're on the screen now, and you can see in those statistics that the BF-109B1, in terms of maneuverability, is superior in turn time and having a better stall speed than the 190, but the 190 has a better rate of roll. And I mean, it says it's better optimum airspeed for the 190, but I'd argue that a better optimum airspeed in most cases is the slower of the two, not the faster of the two, especially if you're in quite a close quarters dogfight. If you're in a dogfight where there's a lot of people going on and you can kind of swap targets, then yes, having the higher optimum airspeed is better. But if it's you versus one other aircraft and there's only, you only have the one other person to pay attention to and you focus solely on that one person, I would argue that the lower optimum airspeed is the better one. But that's besides the point. So we're going to look at the engagement between these two aircraft lined up in this video, and I'm going to use the video I downloaded. I'm just going to go for it here on the channel, and just go for it and pause along the way and explain what happens. So we're starting just before the engagement begins. I was attacking ground targets, so I was quite low on airspeed and very low on altitude because I dropped bombs and I was using guns to shoot at ground targets. So we're going through engaging ground targets, and at this point I'm being shot at. And as you can see, I take some damage and I pull straight up into the vertical and pop my boost. So the reason I do that is because doing that gets me two things. Enough speed to go into a climb, and also gets me some altitude that I can convert into airspeed. And it puts me somewhat level with this 109B. So you can see this 109B has actually come out of a dive, so it's going pretty quickly. He's going completely level and he's going into a horizontal turn. Now, I would argue that his best option really was to go vertical again, because there's no way, with the amount of boost that I had, which is only 2 seconds, which is already gone, and with the fact I was at low altitude and low airspeed, that I could climb vertically after him. Sure, I'd be able to shoot at him right up until he moves out of effective range of my weapons, so the only thing he really has to be concerned about are the two cannons on this, because it's the 190A1. So there isn't 4 cannons in the wings, there's only 2, and the other weapons on this are machine guns. So I think that's his first error there, is getting into a horizontal dogfight. But as we've seen, based on horizontal maneuverability alone, how long it takes to turn, he is the better aircraft here. So we're going to continue on. So I can see, I pulled up behind him, going to get some shots in as we commit to the merge. He goes high again and I simply can't. You notice here that my airspeed has dropped to 213. I've got up to 400 meters in altitude, but you can see I'm getting a stall warning down here. So I'm getting pretty close to my stall speed, and he's still above me and he's still in a turn. So I've got to stay low and below him. Now, he's going to get involved in a bit of a spiraling descent with me, and I'm quite happy to do that because it means that he's giving up his altitude advantage over me and I can get airspeed at the same time. Now, as you can see, I'm not out-turning him, because I went from being only, I'd say, 45 degrees off to now we are directly opposite sides of a circle. And the longer this circle fight maintains, and it has to because I can't go down, I can't go up, he's going to get the advantage here. So I need to think of something at this point of a way to get him in front of me, because a continuous turn engagement like this just simply isn't going to work, because he has the lower stall speed and has a lower optimum airspeed, remember. So as you know, or as you may not know, but I'll explain it for you, if you're committing to a turn and you're going slowly, the area which you take to complete that turn is quite small. Now, it also, you don't cover as much of an area. What it also means is that anyone who's going faster than you doing the same turn is going to take up a large area. So in a situation like this, not only is he going to require less space to complete a full 360-degree turn, but anyone who's turning who does the turn faster than him is going to be outside of him. So he can keep guns on them the entire time, and he can actually, choose how quickly he turns based upon how fast the aircraft outside of him is turning. So a continuous turn engagement in a 190 against any aircraft besides another 190 in certain situations is a terrible choice. So I need to find a way to get him to overshoot me. And he needs to make the mistake, because if I make a mistake here, I die, because he has all the advantages still. He still has altitude on me, he's still above me, he still has airspeed on me, because we both went into the same spiral climb and he came into it with more energy than I do. So he has to give up the altitude and the energy advantage in order for me to get this fight. So we're going to carry on. So as you can see, he's catching up with me. We're going to keep turning. I'm going to try and keep it as low as possible. And now he's come close enough where he goes for guns on. Now, here's where the key switch happens. His turn has continued. He's tried to get guns on me. He's failed. He's put a couple of shots past me. And now he's carried on after going into a shallow dive into a turn again. Now keep in mind, he went into a shallow dive. So he has gained airspeed in that. I just continued in a turn, and I was 300 when we last paused. I was at about 260 at best when I dropped low. I'm now at 243 and I'm pulling up. But what's happened here is I've reversed the direction that I'm travelling in. So not only am I pulling up to drop airspeed, but also now he's continuing on that path. So he's going to continue on his current path in a long, fairly long turn around the outside of me. Whereas I'm pulling up vertically. So all my rotation is now, my turning quotation marks, is being done in the vertical. So I'm taking up less space than him. I'm also dropping airspeed, and as I've just explained, the less airspeed you have, the less area you take to turn to a certain point. Of course, if you're stalling, you turn slowly regardless, and you take up a lot of space doing it. But again, that kind of goes more into the vertical than the horizontal, which we don't have to worry about here. So I've just reversed the turn. I'm going in the opposite direction. I pulled up vertically, and he's continuing the turn. Now, here you can see I'm getting very close to my stall speed, to the point that my airspeed indicator has gone yellow. He's continued the turn. He's going to pull almost right across the front of my aircraft, and he's pulling up, but he's only in a slight shallow angle, pulling up into me, 120 meters away, and he's a slight angle pulling up into me. So he's still maintaining quite a lot of his speed, whereas I've lost pretty much all of mine. And here we merge in clover. Now, as you can see, 201 kilometers an hour. So we're just starting to pick up speed again, and we're on the same altitude. So he's going to carry on in his turn, and he's not going to gain altitude. He's just going to keep turning horizontally. Now he's going to pull down underneath me again because he wants to get shots on. He's going to pull into a dive. Now, I want you to observe how steep of a dive angle this is for him when he comes out of it. As you can see there. So now, because he's gone into a dive, he had the speed advantage on me to begin with because I was nearly stalling and he wasn't. So he's going faster than me to begin with. And he's just pulled into a very steep dive, and I'm still going pretty slowly. 257 is not that fast. So he's got more airspeed than I do at this moment in time. And now he's technically in front of me. He's no longer level with me, he's no longer behind me. He's in front of me, having gained a lot of airspeed. And I have the ability to roll quite quickly and change my direction very quickly, which is what I've taken advantage of here so far. So now he pulls across the front, I can get guns on target. And now we're in a continuous turn. But notice what I said, he's got more airspeed than I do. So although his manoeuvrability is better than mine, he does turn faster than me. He's now in front of me, and he's going quite quicker than I am. So he's taking up more area to turn than I am. Plus, my roll rate is better, so I change direction faster than he can as well. So he's going to pull across my front again. I'm going to get more shots into him. Now he's going to go into a dive, and then he rolls back out of it again. So he's just gained even more airspeed to account for the airspeed that he's lost in the turns. Now I'm going to gain some airspeed to stay with him. And this is it. Now the fight's over. Now there's nothing he can do, and there we go. And all that was me keeping in mind the fact that I'm at a low airspeed and he's not. And what you want to do in that situation is keep your airspeed as low as possible, whilst making sure that your opponent is going just as quick as you, if not quicker. And the longer he's going faster than you, the more area he needs to complete the manoeuvres that you're performing. So even an aircraft with a worse turn speed than an 190B, like this 190A, by keeping my speed low, manoeuvring in the vertical as much as possible, and making sure that I performed manoeuvres that kept him with a high airspeed and made him come into dives and made him take steep dives and take passes like that. He forced himself into a position where he no longer had the altitude advantage because over a successful series of manoeuvres he gave that up. He still had a speed advantage, but it was reduced to the point that although he was pulling away there, he wasn't going to get out of my gun range fast enough. And I was behind him. And that was the biggest thing for him, is he allowed an aircraft with 4 machine guns and 2 cannons to sit in effective gun range behind him. And he no longer had the advantage to manoeuvre, because even if he turned as sharply as he could here, he's so far in front of me, and I'm going slower than him. So now I'm in the same situation where, because he's going faster than me, and he's outside and he's in front of me, I'm always going to be inside his turning circle for quite a considerable period of time. So at that point the engagement was over, and he had lost, regardless if he did what he did there, flew in a straight line, or turned back into me again. And that is how you reverse an aircraft in a 190 that, in theory, is a better manoeuvrability than you. Hope this video helped. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.